So, oops. I thought I did all the trial maps at MegaLAN. That was my intention, is let's do all 5 of the trial maps at MegaLAN, just in a row there, and that's what I thought I did at first. Where's my layout here? I took away my hotkey because I figured I didn't need it anymore. I switched it to be a Deltarune hotkey. My layout with that. There's my Game Boy Advance layout. So, turns out I missed one. There's 5 trial maps. I did 1, 2, 3, and 5. I missed 4. And I said I was gonna showcase all the trial maps. So, yeah, oops. A little bit has happened since the last time I streamed this game. Now, this is for sure gonna be the last time I stream this game, unless I ever feel spicy and want to download a save file and do the sake stuff, which I don't know about that. Yeah, oops. A decent bit has happened since the last time I streamed this game, since the MegaLAN stuff. I, ended up getting a Switch 2, since that is now released. I just wrapped up my playthrough of Deltarune Chapters 3 and 4, and, like, I wrapped up Chapter 4, and I had some time tonight. I was like, alright, how about I finish off a little smidge of Binding Blade stuff tonight? Besides, I was 3D printing this dragon throughout the whole process, and it's almost done. It just needs, like, the spikes and the horns at the top to be done. So I figured, like, oh, let's do some Binding Blade. This is a great layout for having, like, a 3D print cam. Because I want to get some prizes printed for Fragapalooza coming up here, and, that means that it's about time that I start seeing about getting some of these dragons underway for the next LAN gaming event that we're going to be going to, which there isn't going to be any Fire Emblem stuff at Fragapalooza, I don't think. So, you know, this whole Fire Emblem series, there isn't going to be any showcase of that there, but I figured I'd start printing some dragons and get some prizes up at the ready over there. I was looking between the Deltarune and this stuff here, Pirates Challenge. Roy receives a letter from the boss of a group of bandits in the Western Isles. It's time we settle this. Beat my men and I'll give you the honor of fighting me. Oh, so that's probably the Roy's trial there, is the honor of fighting him, or no? Falls into a trap in the Nevada desert. Oh no, it's definitely gonna be like, kill these guys and then you face the boss, is what I guess it is. Okay. We have 1 map, and that's it. Sorry I didn't do this at MegaLAN here. Anyway, I've been fighting that machine, like, all day here. Trying to figure out the proper height for the nozzle. It kept on healing. I kept on having prints failing. And then I finally got one going earlier today. And I didn't realize that I queued up the print for a 3-color one, where it, like, gets up to a certain point, I color change it, gets up to a certain point, I color change it, and then it finishes the print. I didn't realize I did that. Welcome back, Guzma. I accidentally printed what is literally labeled on my machine as the Guzma Dragon earlier today, because it was first for Guzma that I 3D printed, like, a 3-color dragon where I color changed it. So, it is, that's the Blinding Blade, it may as well be. So, I thought I was queuing up a print of, like, just the regular dragon model all the way through. I accidentally queued up what is known on my machine as the Guzma Dragon, because it's just, like, 3 colors thingamabob. And I didn't realize that, so, I came down here to check on, like, see if the print had finished A-okay and stuff like that after I left it for a while. And I found it got up to the point of, like, the first color, and then it stopped and it canceled, and I wasn't here to color change it, and it cooled down, and, you know, almost half of a dragon just went into the recycle bin because of that. So I wasn't all that impressed with that. And then I finally got one underway. I figured I would on purpose queue up a 3-color one this time, because I would be here streaming and supervising it. And I thought it was turning out okay. I was checking it between, like, switching games here while I was on my BRB screen. That one's technically a failed print. I'll see it through anyway, because, like, you know, it's too much for me to want to recycle at this point, and it's almost done, so may as well see it through. It's not like it's disastrous failure, but it is a print fail. I noticed here. So if I turn on that camera, nope, this one, yeah, you can't really tell, like, it looks pretty successful from here, but some of those back notches came loose from the build plate and just started, like, going back and forth there. Well, now the tool head is kind of blocking it. So it'll have a battle scar. It'll still look like an okay, nice-ish dragon, I guess. Like, it wouldn't be a prize I'd give away at Fragapalooza. Like, you can see a little bit of how it's gotten a little bit crazy back there. Kind of where the lights are right now, to the left of it a little bit. That back area. So, like, the other pieces are helping keep it in place. when I was encountering a lot of issues earlier today, yeah, the area that's on right now is, yeah, you can see it shaking back and forth a little bit there. You can see the light kind of poking through the bottom there. So, you know, it's gonna be a little bit zigzaggy at the top there. So I guess that's one that I'm keeping after all, rather than giving away, because I don't want to give away one that messed up there. So yeah, I guess I'll show that during this stream here. It's gonna be done after 3D printing it during all of the final stream of Deltarune Chapter 4 there, and then finishing it off here. So yeah, I think the reason why it failed here is because I hadn't washed that build plate in a while. When it was just rapidly failing back and forth when stuff was peeling on the first few layers, I have 2 plates that I put on there. I was just rapidly switching them back and forth until something worked. One of them was pretty freshly washed and shouldn't have like any gunk on it, and the other has been used quite a bit since the last wash. And it's probably that one, I would imagine. I can check right now. Oh yeah, here's one of my last failures. So, it printed that, and then like this bit here came off and started going everywhere, and then I had to like print fail it. This plate looks pretty clean. This is probably my more freshly washed one. Probably what's going on. Yeah, I don't see any smudges or anything. Yeah. So that's why it is important to take care of your build plates when you're 3D printing and stuff. So yeah. Maybe after this is done, before I go to bed, I'll just give both of them like a good wash. Just get a clean slate now that I think I have the height sorted out for properly printing it without it just like failing on the immediate first few layers. But yeah. Yeah. So that guy's gonna turn out a little bit weird looking. Not gonna be super great, but you know, he'll still have kind of a look and stuff.
Nice shot.
A nice shot redeem. Also, it might actually be a good thing that I forgot to do a trial map at MegaLAN, because it occurred to me there was another thing that I could showcase that I forgot to showcase. So, as was discussed during previous streams, every time you beat the game, you unlock like an additional character to play in trial maps. Well, I got this original file online just so I could have hard mode unlocked, because hard mode isn't unlocked by default. You need to beat the game normally once first to unlock hard mode, and I didn't want to do that, so I downloaded a file online that already had hard unlocked, so I could just immediately go into hard. Turns out this file I got from the internet has beaten the game all the times that it needs to get all the bonus characters here. So, the first bonus character, I think they go in this order. Beat the game once, you get Narcian. Beat the game twice, you get Gal. Beat the game 3 times, you get Hector. 4, I believe, is Brunia. 5 would be Elowood. 6, I believe, is Murdoch. 7 is Zephiel. Then I think it jumps up to like 9 or something like that for Guinevere. So, I may as well showcase the trial map exclusive characters that you only get for beating the game a stupid amount of times. Yeah, you have to beat the game like 9 or something times to unlock characters that you can use in a total of 5 maps. Actually 4 maps, because one of them is Roy exclusive. 4 maps you can play these characters in if you beat the game over and over and over and over again. So let's showcase what the characters are like. Let's play Zephiel. Who are the important ones? How about Hector and Elowood? Maybe I could just have like a full team of guys. Sure, I'm sure it'll work out. Yeah, they really want people to keep on playing the game over and over and over and over again, or something like that. I don't know. Let's see here. That's how I would feel about it. Let's see here. So let's go ahead and, here, item list. Actually, give stuff to the important people first. So you already have X-Sax, which, like, that's cool at least, in 1 to 2 range, usable only by the King of Burn. Guinevere here has Divine. She can go ahead and take the, yeah, take the that. Take the that, sure. And then take a Purge. Yep, that sounds good to me. So wait, she's a Sage, but she uses light magic. I'm just now noticing here. Wait, can she? Oh, she can use anima magic as well. Okay, she can't use dark magic. Okay, but that's interesting. So that's her kind of unique thingamabob there, I guess. Maybe rather than Purge, I go ahead and I instead take a cool thing here or something or other. Air Caliber, sure. Go ahead and you link that. Let's see here. Elowood has Essen Lances. So maybe he goes ahead and he yoinks. Where's the legendary one? I did select item list, right? Yeah, so there should be the legendary lance here somewhere. Brave lance. There it is. Give me the brave lance too. And then like, be some sort of cool sword. Yeah, I already beat the game here. These are just like bonus maps that you can play afterwards that are just like standalone challenge maps that you can play with like the save data of like a cleared file. Essentially is what it is. You can't wield Durandal. That kind of sucks, doesn't it? How many hours? I wouldn't be able to tell you an accurate amount of hours because I sped up the game at many points, like this. I would run the game in super speed, and the game, tracks, like, by in-game time. So when I was running the game at super speed and just grinding stuff out over and over again, it added up a lot of time. I'm pretty sure it has, like, 115 hours or something like that on this file. The amount of time I've played on this is not 115 hours, but it is definitely a decent bit of time, because, I spent a lot of time making my units really broken, quite frankly. I don't know. What was the number of hours you have on Octopath 1? Yeah, except it's on a linear Fire Emblem game that just goes like chapter to chapter to chapter to chapter. That I don't think the developers were ever expecting anyone to spend over 100 hours on. Like, once it got to like 110, it seemed like the numbers started to work properly again, but just like base 100, the numbers stopped displaying properly for a little while there. They didn't display right anymore. Here, hand axe, whatever. The game was not super happy with that. Well, he's a general in this game. A and A. He's got a brave axe there. Let's go ahead and grab like a silver axe or something. I don't know. Take that. And then you already have a silver lance. I can give you like a javelin or something here. And then say, I don't know. It's mostly axe guys, this map. Give you like a hand axe or something here. Sure. AA. Yeah, if you're the only one here that can have S there. Oh yeah, well. In that case, maybe you, here. Just rely on those. And then go ahead and take a purge. You're the only one here that's gonna be able to use it. Because you won't exactly be able to use it. Emulator bolting fortify. Oh, that's kind of nice there. Oh, let me check the item list. I can't scroll around the top here. Sure. Grab this air caliber. That sounds good to me. And then like a staff. Here, grab that physic there. That sounds good to me. Here, we can go ahead and just grab like a silver sword. Silver sword, not that one. That one. Silver lance. How about... There we go. And then... I don't know. What's something cool? What's something cool here? I already have light brand. There's the rune sword. Silver blade, sure. I don't know. Also, I know what I've been doing this stream goes against most of the other stream. Not a crazy day at work, so I figured why not just talking about my frustrations, but not like negativity, but focused it towards positive energy. And it's no worries chatting in stream and a stream here and all that, as I've said before. You have a rune sword. You can go ahead and grab a silver sword. And you can grab the rune sword, or maybe I already gave that away. Maybe I did, yeah. Here, a couple lances. Grab a silver lance from here. And then like a javelin or something. That sounds good to me. And then Murdoch, he's gonna want some stuff, isn't he? Maybe. But yeah. And okie doke then. Here, let's grab that. Let's grab a javelin. Not Hector's javelin. Don't know how I selected the same one twice somehow. Axe Reaver might actually be pretty good there. And then just like Silver Axe, sure. In fact, maybe I should give Hector a Axe Reaver. Maybe what I should do here. Let's see here. If I were to okie doke. Sounds good then. My DMs do be open. Maybe the Silver Axe away. And then the Axe Reaver. They have it in advantage against axe guys. Where are the axe reavers? Did I select item list? Item list. Wait, axe reaver is a lance. Whoops, I'm a little bit silly. Not that one. Yeah, I have a decent bit in my inventory in this game. Zephiel's gonna want some stuff. Oh, he's got S with swords. But, like, X-Axe is probably, like, the best thing that he can wield. He can't wield anything but swords. So, I mean, I don't know if there's much point giving him much different here. Sure, a Worm Slayer. Owl's Sword. He can use that, I guess. A Silver Blade. Wow. Give him a Killing Edge. That sounds good to me. Roy here. Oh, yeah. I may as well use, like, stabs and stuff. A? And A. So, I mean, if I were to say... Just hold on to that. But then I take... Or I go ahead and trade here. Yeah, see how they like it, huh? See how they like it here. And then I'm gonna go ahead and yoink from the item list here. Randall. Why not? There we go, still has 13 uses. I'll take that. And then, sure, that looks good there. And then I can go ahead and say... Transfer... Go ahead and say item list. I'll yoink a sleep too, unless there's like some really busted staff here that I want to take. Nah, I'll take that. So we're surrounded by a lot of guys. Yeah, I should have looked at the map more first, but you know, this is fine. Yeah, this'll be fine, I think. To just like kind of hold down the fort over here and do I need to change around my unit order here at all? Maybe just like... something like this. Guess it doesn't really matter here too much. Here, because I'm not saving here after that setup that I just did. Let's go ahead and save state, sure, on that bottom row there. What we'll do. Fight. And then I'm done. Last map. And then I don't know where Fire Emblem goes from here. I have been thinking more about Path of Radiance since the last stream. And when I was heading out of town the other day with my dad, we were going to go check in with my grandparents and plant some tomato plants and stuff like that, and that's what we were doing there. On the way, while I was just like, well, I'm just a passenger in the vehicle, what should I do in the meantime? I did start looking into stuff with Path of Radiance, and I find that its support system apparently works like the same kind of way, where it's like you can only have like 5 conversations ever. But the bonuses don't seem to be as good as in the Fire Emblem Game Boy Advance games. But still only just the 5 conversations. The options seem pretty limited. There's a lot of characters that'll only have like 2 potential people that they can support with, or like 3 or something like that, and it's like, what the heck? How do I plan this out? Like Soren apparently only has like 2 people that you can chat with. Like, what the heck, man? I don't understand it. So, I actually made a copy of my Binding Blades spreadsheet, and I ended up renaming it to Path of Radiance, and now I've started making some ideas of Path of Radiance. So, again, that might still not be happening for a while, but when I had some free time there, I did start putting it through the think tank here about what my team might potentially look like, and start getting like the very beginning basics of some ideas. So, yeah, there's that. But and I can definitely follow up with this after the Stream here. Is the case. What I'm gonna have to do, I think. Oh yeah, you're just gonna wreck anybody here anyway. You wanna poke this guy, Hector? Oh, I had combat animations off. Sorry, Hector. Our guy. Our main man, Hector. We didn't even get to see his thingamabob. Well, but yeah, what? I don't actually, what? I thought I turned combat animations on. Oh, because I have them on in the one way. I don't understand what that's in response to, I'm sorry to say. Let's see here. Wait. Unless you want to go this way, my dude. Which maybe you do. Here, Murdoch is gonna be the first one with a animation here. Made it far. Congratulations. Can you defeat me? Oh, hold on. Hold on. Good thing I saved right there. Hold on. I need to have it to... Yeah, not that, but this. I did have combat animations on. Yeah, I gotta do this. Is there dialogue? Oh, Hector doesn't have dialogue. Lame. Lame. That sucks there. Yeah, I can follow up about this later here. Certainly the case. Let's see here. Yeah, Murdoch has dialogue. Made it. I congratulate you. You defeat me. Sure, looks like he can't. Seemed to be the case. Alright, he's just working on the horns now. Almost done. Here, come over here and just get this guy with a legendary weapon. Doesn't have any dialogue. This game came out 2000... Maybe just even 2000. Was it 2002? Might be 2002. I don't remember. I think it was 2002, and then FE7 was 2003, and then Sacred Stones I think was 2004? Something like that. And along those lines. Fire Emblem Binding Blade. It's a Game Boy Advance game. What is? Yep, March 29th, 2002. Let's see here. So... Here, then Brunia could come here. Air Caliber, sure. Go ahead and do that. But yeah. Well, this is a Game Boy Advance game. So this is what they did on the Game Boy Advanced. Oh, it's done. It's probably a little cursed. Let's use Durandal. Super wreck this guy. Yeah, this will probably be easy peasy. Just put it in MegaLAN. Okay, well. How cursed is it? Well, a lot of the spikes just didn't go on at all after I switched to that blue. Did it, like, shift in some way as a whole after, Here it is. The general look isn't that bad here. I need to turn off the tracking here. Go this way. Tracking off. Like, the general look with, like, the blue, like, that color transition looks pretty good. This is the section that came loose. Like, you can see it's not on the build plate. So it started jittering around, and it wasn't printing quite right in place. And then it got a little bit, funky looking up there. Not quite super clean. Right towards the top. And then this stuff is still firm on there. Like, it's still attached. So I don't know why this stuff didn't properly go on. Maybe just some sort of chain reaction of stuff not going on properly. Yeah, so technically a failed print. Technically a failed one there, unfortunately. I'll give this build plate a good wash if that's the issue. So this is not going to be a Fragapalooza prize dragon. Will not be the case. Yeah, this stuff is not quite on there. At least the horns turned out, like, pretty okay and stuff. Here, do this. Like, you can still go on a shelf and stuff like that. Back when my prints are there. Okay, I'm going to have to wash my build plate. So, yeah, he just doesn't really have spikes for a lot of him. And he has, like, a brief section of this stuff can probably just, like, come off there. Yeah, I mean... mostly black and gray, and then, like, blue horns there, but, you know, this part turned out okay. But then, as we get over here, it gets a little bit, yeah. So, well, oh well. Oh well, I tried. At least the printer should be working fine now. It should just be that, like, my build plate probably wasn't washed enough, so I wasn't getting enough adhesion. Is probably what's going on there. It does suck a little bit after trying to print this, like, all day, that this is what happened. Oh, and the horns weren't even quite right. They're shifted, like, forward. The whole thing shifted forward by a smidge while I was printing. Not entirely sure why, but on that final color change, it, like, changed the position slightly. That should not happen. Unless somehow the build plate itself just moved in layers, which that shouldn't have been the case. If it moved, like, it should have been locked in place. I don't understand. Oh well, if I'll be a little bit more on top of the next one. I'll get my build plates washed. I gotta figure out how to print these dragons reliably again before Fragapalooza. I've been having some printing issues for a while now. But this'll be my Deltarune finishing dragon / Fire Emblem Binding Blade finishing dragon, I guess. And he's gonna hang out here for now. We're on the tracking again. Deltarune Chapter 4 finishing dragon. Technically not finishing the whole game. But, yeah, it's a little bit funky. But it's gonna hang out here. We can go on top of the controllers and stuff here. Be another dragon added to my bazillion dragons that I have in this room. Roll the tail around that way or else it's gonna fall off. Or, I don't know. There, he's gonna chill on my, PlayStation 5 controller there. I guess, or something. I don't know. He'll chill there for now. I'll find a place for him in my office. I'm not gonna recycle him when he printed up to that point well enough. But yeah, technically a failed print. Not something that I'm gonna give away. Fast quality dragon, but... Yeah. Yeah, he's just gotta be hanging out there. What's gonna be happening? Narcian, do you wanna maybe, Sure, poke this guy with the silver lance. Is Murdoch the only one that gets dialogue? Not what, goes on there. Zephiel wanna super destroy this guy? This has infinite uses, so, like... Not even Zephiel gets dialogue, just Murdoch. I'm glad we can do the Zephiel copter. Amazing animation. Okay, well, we can clear this island out here. Killer Lance? Sure. One way or another, this kills, as long as it doesn't miss. Cool, but crit. Yeah, here was the guy with the super weird AI. I was playing against him. Weirdest AI I've seen in Fire Emblem in a long time, maybe ever. Ellawood the Paladin here in this game. Look at him go. Alright, do I send Zephiel after that dude? Oh, his res is actually higher than his defense. What, my unit's here? See the dancing animation for the first time in, like, forever. Yeah, this is the base game final boss, Zephiel, so I mean... Oh. I might not kill here. I can try with Killing Edge and hope for the best, but, like... his sword always looks the same. I'm not doing it with Killing Edge. I'm blue. That's the way it be in Fire Emblem games. Okay, well, that person lives, but that should be fine. I guess you're just gonna chill there, then. That works fine. Alright, a bunch of pirates come over. So many, like, unpromoted dudes. There's a couple promoted dudes. So it should be not half bad at all. So, but yeah, Zephiel is, by default, like, the main big bad. The dragon here is just a little bit flawed. It's gone through some hardships in life, just like Eden. That's what this is gonna be symbolic of. But that doesn't define her. Let's see here. So then, sure. Let's see. Big spins. Alright, and then those guys will come to shore over there. Should I just, like... Sure, I'm gonna hit you with a legendary weapon. That sounds cool. Just hit you with, like, the biggest hit I can hit you with. A beam from God! Well... Yeah, well, that's very much what they had intended. Considering he is your big bad. That has declared war on the world and you have to go and defeat him and stuff like that in the story of the game. But I did that and now he's unlocked in these bonus maps and stuff. Do you want to use the... Oh, this barely doesn't one-shot. Guess I'll use Air Caliber. Oh, get crit. Zephiel still hasn't crit, though. Hey, be gone with you. Yeah. I always think that looks like Mithra's Artifice or something there. Here, and then, Axe Reaver. That sounds good to me. Have that on secondarily. Ellawood can be over here, and he can be at the ready with the, Silver Sword help out. That sounds cool to me. Meanwhile, over here, I don't know, Hector, go chill here and have the, Axe Reaver on there. That sounds cool. Sure, I don't know. Oh, I meant to check the objectives for this map. Is it just survive? Is it route? Oh, so that's what the crit looks like with him. Oh, that's cool. I never got to see that when I was playing against him before. Oh, that's wicked. He never crit me. An animation that very few players will ever see. Oh my god, that's wicked. I really quite like that. raising it into the air, having it be stricken by lightning. Kind of reminds me of the final battle of Skyward Sword. What makes me think of there. It's so cool. And Murdoch was the only one here that got dialogue. Maybe it was a bit of a programming issue where it's just in the code where the first time someone attacks Murdoch, or Murdoch attacks someone, there's dialogue. And that just wasn't taken out for the trial maps or something like that. Oh, you are gonna get smitten. That's the case here. See ya. Goodbye. Well, you know how it be. You know how it goes. And see if Murdoch cares. Oh, you can attack Narcine with the hand axe from there. Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Not too worried here. Had a 25% chance to crit. Can't exactly do any damage. So is this just route? Status. Defeat the leader. Wait, which one's the leader? Would it be like one of these berserkers or something? Berserker level 10. Both level 10. It's not like one is stronger than the other. Wait, which one is the leader? What? It's gotta be one of the berserkers, surely. You just walk on the water too? Did they gain the power of Jesus Christ or something? Yeah, every pirate in the Game Boy Advance Fire Emblem games at least are just Jesus Christ, is the case. So, they can go across mountains, they can go across water. They might go slower than like a flyer can, but they get there. They do just go across the water. One of the traits of the pirates in this game, they're just like, oh yeah, water? Pfft, like I care. Here, I want to see if he gets another one. I have 2 chances. No, not this time. That was actually such a cool animation. Please do it. Oh, there it is. That looks like something that like a Dark Souls boss would do, is what it looks like. To think they went so hard on animation that very few players are ever gonna see. Because like either you beat the game multiple times and unlock him as a playable character in trial maps, or one of your characters gets crit in like the one battle against him, where he ends up critting one of your guys, and then like you probably have to restart the map, or just accept that that guy's gone. Something, I guess. So, very few players are ever gonna see that animation, but it goes so hard. Yep. I don't know if the bandits can as well. I know the bandits can go across the mountaintop. It might be with the water as well for bandits. It might well be. The game might count them as essentially the same thing. Essentially, he is, yeah. He's not the true final boss if you fulfill the conditions for the true ending. In which case you end up going after the not the Fell Dragon. The demon dragon Eden, who he awakened and wanted to like remake the world with and is still following like his last commands. You take her on, and it's actually kind of a really cool battle. But if you don't fulfill the conditions for getting to the true ending, then he just is the final boss and the game ends when you beat him. Is the case. But fulfill the conditions and then there's 3 extra chapters afterwards. That's the case. What? Oh, equip, not use, yeah. Maybe I should lead some dudes in here. Something like that. But yeah. Yeah. Yeah, these are just like... This is essentially post-game content of like, hey, here's challenge maps that you can fulfill with your save file from earlier in the game. Stuff like that. Plus bonus characters based on how many times you've beaten the game. I'm trying to use like all the enemy faction characters. I mean, there's Ellawood and Hector that would have been like allied faction characters that just, you know, aren't part of your army in the main story. Or Guinevere here as well technically counts as one there. Who was an ally in the game, but not playable. But she's playable here. But most of these characters that I've unlocked are enemy faction characters. Kind of fun using Zephiel. Yeah, I mean, basically. I play in the game over and over and over and over and over again. Out of curiosity. Bolting. Let's just kill that guy from across the map. That sounds fun. Time to die. Well. Oh. Well, the description of the map was like, defeat all the dudes, and then I'll come out being the boss. Oh my god. That's so cool. My god, the animations. Oh, it's awesome. Wait, did a sage just spawn on my island there? Maybe I should just, like, assume a defensive position and then just, like, hold it down. That's what I'm thinking I might just do here. Alright, you're gonna get super wrecked. I don't think any of these enemies really have a chance against any of my guys. I don't think is the case. Yeah, I knew. Yeah. They're, everyone that comes in and attacks is just gonna, like, die. This is what's gonna happen here. So, I mean... Hellfire. It's interesting how Laram has unique battle music. Something I never really noticed before, because I always had the combat animations off for her. Okay, do you want to get super wrecked? Maybe. Let's see. Do you get super wrecked? Yes, you do get super wrecked. It's so cool. Admittedly, the big spin around into a slash is slightly goofy. The whole build-up is so cool. Alright, Ellawood. Mr. Fire Emblem Dad himself. Could use the legendary weapon. I don't think there is. There's a lot of recruitable characters along the way. I could be missing something, but I'm pretty sure not in this game. No, it could also vary with, like, different translations, to be fair. Type brand is like nothing. Binding Blade. Yeah, Game Boy Advance Fire Emblem animations are so good. Some of my favorite Fire Emblem animations just in general. Yeah, go after Roy and, like, have fun, I guess. I don't know. Ah, that sounds good. Go after him. Alright, more dudes are spawning. That's fine. Oh, I should have berserked one of their berserkers. That would have been so funny. Would have been amazing to see. Oh, and some of the fans are continuing to blare on my printer because I set the cooldown time to 1 hour rather than 10 minutes. Let me just change that really quickly. I know it's not being picked up on my microphone, but I'm gonna always hear it there. But yeah. Yep. That's why it's called Fire Emblem the Binding Blade, because we get the Binding Blade. It's... Where does it even come from? It's one of the legendary weapons that we get along the journey, but it's like even more legendary than the other legendary weapons, and more powerful, and also breaks in 20 hits, but we're not gonna talk about that. And it's the, ooh, the crit, sweet. It's the thing that has the power to either kill or save the demon dragon, essentially. Like, it reflects the intentions of the wielder. And Roy intended to save Eden, so by doing the final blow on the demon dragon with the binding blade, you get to, save her. And then she a friend. Time to die. Sure. But if we're not going to, like, true ending, it doesn't really do much anything, it's just, like, more powerful. Like, it's the name of the game, but it only shows up, like, towards the end of the game. Like, it's not very present throughout the story or anything. But yeah, apparently it reflects the intentions of the wielder. In whether it actually does damage or not, how much damage, and so on, is the story idea. Alright, well, the Binding Blade's gonna break here. Where the heck is, oh. How about the Demon Dragon is Eden. You do not unlock her as a playable character. Oh, you're the one with Berserk. Staff, Berserk. Can I Berserk one of the Berserkers? Oh, hell yeah. See how you guys like it. Yeah, yeah. I'm doing it again. Okay. One more time. I can re-berserk that guy for whatever reason. Berserk that guy too. He'll go fight whoever he feels like fighting now. But yeah. I would imagine so. It would be really cool. I don't know how it would look like, considering when you go in combat with her, like, she takes up so much of the screen. Maybe they didn't want to find a way to make that work. Doesn't the X-Axe have 2 range? Oh, it has 2 range. What does it look like from 2 range? Anyway, let's find out. When he uses it from range, just throw it or something? Oh, he just tends like a shockwave or something, I guess. Cool, well, Zephiel's just gonna, like, hold down the fort over there. Hector, you want to, like, park on that board in a second so that no more dudes come out? We just don't worry about it anymore. There's all sorts of dudes. Alright, well, see ya. It's a Fieldcopter time. I really like this crit animation, though. So much cooler. Well. Yeah, you're gonna get wrecked now. Such a cool animation. But yeah. He's the final boss if you go down the true ending route. Zephiel's the final boss by default. By default, you go up until chapter 24 and face Zephiel. And if you haven't fulfilled the true ending conditions, the game ends right there at chapter 24. If you fulfill the true ending conditions, then you get 3 more chapters, with Eden being the final boss. Yeah, I mean, honestly, that is kind of how it goes with Fire Emblem games. It do be the rule. Really want to go after Laram, don't they? Well. Nice miss. Okay, well. Wow, just crit that guy. Nice. Oh, the 2 Berserk guys might end up going after each other. What might end up happening here? Here, Eloa, do you want to wreck this guy? Just happened to find it on my journey? The true ending? There's no way. There's no way anybody could just so happen to find it. The conditions to, oh. Well, anyway, I'll finish the thought anyway. To get the true ending, the conditions are so niche, there's no way you're not doing it, like, without a guide. And the Binding Blade, you kind of get it, like, right before the final map. So, like, you do the map leading up to, like, the battle with Zephiel, and then at the end of the map, you're just given the Binding Blade. And then you face Zephiel in what is, by default, you know, the final boss. So you only have Roy promote, and he's only given the Binding Blade. Literally right before fighting Zephiel. Like, right at the end of the game. Which is a little bit silly, in my opinion. Here, give this a go. So it comes in extremely, extremely late. It's not like an Awakening Falchion or a Fates Yato kind of thing where it's super present throughout the whole game. It's kind of like, oh, by the way, here you go. The Binding Blade. You don't even find it in, like, a super crazy shrine or important place or anything. It's just like, oh, here's the Binding Blade. Here you go. I don't think the story of this game is its strong suit. Murdoch, can you do a thing, maybe? Tap here. Really? God, I wonder how many years it took for someone to find the final boss without a guide. I'm sure that since, yeah, true final boss. I'm sure that there was probably, like, official guides that were being put out. And this is probably why you'd want to be checking in on, like, Nintendo Power magazines and stuff like that people were publishing since, you know, internet guides and stuff like that weren't really too much of a thing at that point. Here, ice for fun. So you would probably beat the game by default, like, defeat Zephiel, and it's like, oh, the land is safe, but there's still some loose ends here. I wonder what's going on. But, you know, go and get the guides, and it's like, whoa, there's this extra stuff here. So to get the true ending of this game, you need to have all the legendary weapons. So there's the Binding Blade, and there's a bunch of other legendary weapons. And each of the legendary weapons are locked behind a Gaiden chapter, which are optional chapters, essentially. Like, you won't, by default, be getting them on a playthrough. But if you fulfill the conditions in, like, the chapter before the Gaiden chapter, then you do the Gaiden chapter. So, like, if you fulfill the conditions in chapter 14, then you go to chapter 14X, which is the Gaiden chapter, gives you a legendary weapon, and then you do chapter 15 and continue with the story. But if you don't fulfill the conditions, then after chapter 14, you just go to chapter 15, no 14X. And the game never tells you these conditions. So either you have a guide, or you just so happen to fulfill the conditions. Sometimes the conditions are just like, beat the map in 20 turns. Again, the game never tells you which ones you need to worry about low turn count with, and which ones you can take however many turns you want with, since it doesn't tell you these things. And some of them are things like Douglas has to be alive in the one chapter, when Douglas is a red unit. So, like, if you get in his range, he's going to attack you, and I'm pretty sure he comes after you. He needs to live, so you need to not kill, like, one of the guys that comes after you. And of course, there's, like, some dialogue before the map where he looks reluctant and stuff like that. But as a player, you're just supposed to pick up on, like, oh, don't kill the dude that is coming after you, or else, like, you're gonna be locked out of the Gaiden. So, you need to get all the legendary weapons, and all the legendary weapons still need to, like, exist. Like, you need to have them in your inventory. Each legendary weapon only has 20 uses, so, like, There's the Binding Blade here, 20 uses. I have 5 left. There's Durandal here, 20 uses. I have 12 left. So if any one of them breaks, you're locked out of the true ending. So you beat Zephiel, and if you have all the legendary weapons, then they all glow, and they show you the way to go to get to, like, the Dragon Sanctuary and get the true ending and stuff like that. But let's say, like, one of them just broke on Zephiel's armor. Too bad, no more true ending. It broke. You used the legendary weapon 20 times, you can't get the true ending anymore. So, you need to have all the legendary weapons, and you can't let them break. If you use any legendary weapon 20 times, you are locked out of the true ending. Like, before that branching point, at least. If you break them after the branching point, then it's not a big deal anymore. You need to have them all intact. So even if you did all the work and got all of them, if you use one 20 times, guess what? No more true ending for you. Durandal broke? Whoops. No more true ending. It is extremely, extremely silly. But yeah, imagine Breath of the Wild locked its endings behind these weapons that were like super niche to get, or there's no way you're getting them without a guide and fulfilling these super niche conditions. And if you use them like 20 times and it breaks, then it sucks to suck. It's just gonzo now. But yeah, I mean, unless the game came out with a pamphlet to look through and had stuff in it that talked about it. I'm sure that it probably had like some sort of guidebook, but I doubt that it showed like what the conditions were for like all the guidance and stuff. You would probably have to look for like a Nintendo Power magazine or something like that, I would imagine. Most likely. But yeah, how would anyone not know about that though if he's an enemy? Like, just guess. So either like word of mouth or guides or something like that they publish, I don't know. And then you need to keep them alive, and then you get that legendary weapon. So there's all sorts of niche conditions like that you have to fulfill. Gosh dang it, to get the guidance. And then you get all the guidance, get all the legendary weapons, and then you have to make sure they don't break. But yeah, yeah, I remember that, and they were actually really in-depth and really good. I remember showing the Pokemon Conquest one on stream here recently. Or look, Aureola is a legendary weapon, 4 more uses. If I used that before the story bridged and broke it, no more true ending. Then the game just ends when you beat Zephiel. There's nothing else past that. Well, because everyone just looks everything up online anyway, so they figure they're gonna decrease production costs and not, like, do that anymore. Like, why include anything in there when anyone's just gonna Google any information that they need anyway in this day and age? But back when you needed guides. And whoo boy, would they have probably been making some bank off of guides for games like this when it's literally, there's no freaking way you're getting the true ending if you're not looking at a guide. No, this game was Japan exclusive, and I don't know exactly how well it sold. You're bolting. Sure, that guy. That guy there. Zippity zap. But I would definitely like some booklets with my games still. Like the full color little mini guides that tell you everything that you need to know about how the game works and all that stuff. I miss those days. I have no idea when the frickin' boss is gonna appear. Watch his map just actually be insanely long. Just you imagine. Well, get on out of here. Go after Zephiel. He'd get a crack of that. I wonder if eventually the developers themselves had to announce it eventually about how to unlock it. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. This game never released in the West. This was a Japan exclusive game. I'm playing a patch that like translates it. A fan-made translation patch here. So there's no like history of it in the West that I can look up for the niche conditions. But I do wonder how the Japanese players found it. Like, what exactly was going on there? Narcian, do you want to come and like wreck this dude a little bit? We'll heal up in a hot second here. Because yeah, it is super niche. Ow. Maybe I should have just killed with Guinevere after all, and then healed afterwards. Maybe what I should have done. Oh well, too late now. Here, do that. Yep. This was the last Japan exclusive Fire Emblem. Actually, no, it's not. The last ones that were Japan exclusive until they started releasing games in the West, I should say. Fire Emblem 12 was Japan exclusive as well. So, yeah, I kind of lied there. But Fire Emblem was only a Japan series. They never released the games in the West until this game came out. So this game came out in 2002. And the main character is Roy, who is like a very well-known character from Smash Bros. From Smash Bros. Melee and Smash for Wii U and 3DS and Smash Ultimate now. He's the main character of this game, and he originally released in Melee because this was like the game that was on its way when Melee came out. And they were like, hey, let's just put Roy in there as a Marth clone, and that'll advertise like the new Fire Emblem game that's coming out. And so Roy was in Smash Bros. Melee, but the West never got his game, and they were like, what the heck, who is this guy? Mod translation, I'm not sure. I have it in the descriptions of my videos for like the release page, and it probably shows like updates throughout time. Not entirely sure. It's not brand new or anything, like it's been around for a while, I can definitely say. I'm not entirely sure how long. Let's just go ahead and X-ax you. It's been out for a decent while since, you know, fans wanted to play this game. But essentially, Smash Bros. Melee released. People in the West were like, what the heck? Why don't we get these games? Who's this Marth guy? Who's this Roy guy? We want these games. And then Nintendo was like, oh, okay, they actually want the games in the West. We'll release the next one in the West. So this is Fire Emblem 6. Fire Emblem 7 is when they started releasing in the West. So they released Fire Emblem 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, not 12, in the West. But, which is kind of funny, considering Fire Emblem 7 is the prequel to this game. It follows Ellawood here, who's Roy's dad. So it's funny, in the West we get Smash Bros. Melee, find out who this Roy guy is, and like we finally get the chance to play a Fire Emblem game in the West, and we get to play as the dad of the guy that we were playing as Smash Bros. And there's like a little scene towards the end of the game where you see Roy as a child like running around and stuff like that. And that's all the official Roy content there is in the West, well, apart from things like Awakening with like, you know, Roy DLC and stuff like that, and, you know, Engage and all that. In terms of like the official story, all we get is the prequel story to the story that people actually first wanted to see in the West. And because FE7 was the first one released in the West, they added like a 12 chapter long tutorial segment with Lynn's story, because it's like, hey, the West hasn't played a Fire Emblem game before, we gotta ease them into it and show them how it works and stuff like that. So you do like a whole subplot in FE7 before the main plot starts to kind of tutorialize the game and show how the heck a Fire Emblem game even works. But yeah, Roy's game here has never gotten an official translation. But yeah, they toned down the difficulty of FE7 a little bit. FE6, it feels like here is definitely one of the harder Fire Emblem games. I mean, not at this point, obviously, with these trial maps and stuff that I'm doing, but it does definitely feel like one of the harder Fire Emblem games I've played generally. And so when they really majorly toned down FE7 for Westerners, because I thought, oh, Westerners, they're not that good at these video games. We can't make it that hard. Fire Emblem's too brutal. We gotta tone it down. Maybe that's one of the reasons why they never localized this game, is they felt like it would be too hard. But, like, I feel like they probably could have made, like, some decent bank off of it if they did localize it, even if it came out a bit later. Yeah, kind of like Xenoblade Chronicles, where it released in Japan first, and then people really wanted it to come to the West, and were asking, please, bring it here, we want to play it! And then Nintendo was like, okay, we will. But, you know, with Xenoblade, at least they released the original game. Look at those misses there. This, they never even released it. They just released FE7 and 8 for the Game Boy Advance. But not this one. Here, You Must Die. Legendary weapon time, because it's funny. So, yeah, never an official translation of this game, but maybe it's because I thought it would be too hard? I don't know. Something. There's plenty of hard games too that are still released in the West. Yeah, especially nowadays. But back then, they probably didn't have that thought. I mean, they could totally still localize something like that with their stupid Nintendo Classics service or something like that, where they put a whole bunch of Game Boy games. I'm pretty sure you can play this game on the Switch with, like, Nintendo Classics if you live in Japan. But not the West. You still can't play it in the West. There's still no official way to play this in the West, so emulator and translation patches like the only way that I can realistically do this. Unfortunately. So, yeah. Ultimately, Shulk being released in Smash for Wii U, apparently most people never heard of Shulk and found out about Xenoblade through that, too. Yeah, I mean, part of that reason is because Nintendo didn't really do much advertising for Xenoblade. After a lot of fan demand for a bunch of Japan-exclusive games to come to the West, Nintendo was finally like, okay, we'll release Xenoblade, and like some other companies released their games in the West, since there was a push for a lot of different games to come to the West. But Nintendo did like no advertising for it at the time, and they released Xenoblade as a GameStop exclusive. So no advertising, GameStop exclusive. Not many people heard of Xenoblade Chronicles when it first came out, and it was through Smash Bros. That a lot of people found out, like myself, and that's what led me playing Xenoblade Chronicles on the 3DS. Ow. Well, you're gonna get wrecked by the legendary weapon that's about to break here soon. Oh, super wrecked by it. There's the crit. But, remember playing Xenoblade way back then on the Wii before it was announced on Smash? You're one of the niche few. One of the OG fans then, in that case. But yeah, I feel like if this game did release in the West later, like, let's say they released Fire Emblem 7 in 2003, whatever it was. I feel like if they did just release this game later, even if it was out of order, like releasing FE7 first and then FE6 later in the West, as they then work on a translation for it to release it there, I feel like it probably wouldn't have performed too half bad, because Roy. People who are playing Super Smash Bros. Melee, they want to know who this Roy guy is. And if word got around like, hey, the game that Roy is from, that guy from Super Smash Bros. Melee, his game is finally out here, there might have been some decent sales. I don't know. Here, Durandal. Like, right? I don't know how well Fire Emblem 7 performed in the West. I know that it was, like, the very first Western Fire Emblem game. But if it performed decently well, and people were interested in, like, Roy from Smash Bros., then just release this in the West, too. But they never did, and they still have it to this day. It's like Mother 3. It's never been officially localized. Axe Reaver. Oh, and it's still not enough there. Alright, well, time to get you with the Air Caliber then, I guess. Yeah, the gosh darn spider fight killed me so hard because the Joy-Con remote thing. The thing sucked ass. I could not do the shield thing for the life of me. Joy-Con remote thing, how what? Hold on. Let me, go over here, and then staff, and then I'll go ahead and fortify. Everyone gets health! There. Up us up. That's cool animation. Never heard of the 3DS version until way later on, though. Only found about Xenoblade on the 3DS after I played Xenoblade 2. Oh. Yeah, I remember buying a new 3DS. I think it's on my desk here somewhere. Yeah, here it is. Still keep it around. Oh, it's plugged in right now. Plugged into my computer just to simply keep charging stuff. Yeah, I got this thing along with a copy of Xenoblade Chronicles 3D. That was my introduction to Xenoblade, and it was, certainly something. Played, like, the worst version of it, but at least it was on the go. It's on the go with the Switch now as well. Although we had the remote stick and there was a cord you could plug into it with a little Joy-Con stick. You mean the nunchuck? Joy-Con is the name of the controllers for the Switch. Sure, Murdoch. Kill this guy with your chain axe. But yeah, so only way to play this game is like, well, realistically, is through emulator and fan translation. Guess you could always track down a Game Boy Advance or a Nintendo DS. I can only imagine how much a copy of Fire Emblem The Binding Blade would cost. Probably have to sell a kidney or something like that in order to afford a copy of this game. How long does this map go on? What the hell? Since it was Japan exclusive and all that, I had to play the entire game of Xenoblade Chronicles on the Wii. Yeah, when I played the Wii version on my Wii U, I used I think I used, like, the Gamepad or a Pro Controller, because you didn't have to do that with the Wii. I think you could use the Nintendo Classic Controller, and when I was playing it on the Wii U, I'm pretty sure that's what it replicated, was, like, the Nintendo Classic Controller. Was the case. Because I've played the Wii version through, twice. One on Wii U and one on emulator with Dolphin. And I never had to do, like, Wii Remote plus nunchuck controls. I'm pretty sure I used the Nintendo Classic Controller. Controls. Is what I'm fairly certain it was. So, didn't have that back then. I have two lying around here somewhere. I don't know where. But how long does this map go on? I'm looking it up. Fire Emblem Binding Blade. Trial Map 4, I guess? Fire Emblem Blade Trial Maps. Let's see here. If I just click the fourth one, Pirate Challenge. Let's see here. So apparently enemies will spawn until when everyone is defeated, the leader will appear in the left in the black X. Oh, far left there. So turn 14 they go until. It's turn 11 right now. So turn 14 guys are going to be spawning until apparently. So it goes on for a while. Just had the Wii, that was my first big console other than Game Boy Advance and DS, of course. That was my second, if we're not counting PC. Since I played, I'm not going to break the Binding Blade. Since I started with PS2 and stuff. Sure. Die, I guess. Fire Emblem Fates Intensifies, the game where I would most use Fimbulverter since it was basically just the steel tome. I don't know if I ever got a Fimbulverter tome in a Binding Blade here during my normal playthrough. I might not have. Here, go ahead and sure, Silver Sword this guy. That's what I will do. Let's see. Sure, Durandal this guy. This Ellawood sword from FE7. He can't even wield in this game. His sword level isn't good enough. Ooh, X-Ax this guy from here. I think it was Xbox One, but you switched out for a PS4 instead. Fair enough. Both of which are still continuing to receive games to this day, like Elden Ring Night Rain just a couple weeks ago. Which is crazy that games are still coming out on this console from like 13 years ago, 12 years ago, whatever it was. Absolute insanity that's going on. But yeah. Yeah, Night Rain just came out a couple weeks ago, and PS4 and Xbox One was one of the platforms that it released for. Just like, wow. Pretty sure the PS4 released 2013. Do you mind? You maybe not do that? So many guys, they're not hard, they're just annoying. But yeah. Yeah, that's fair enough. Well, I guess it stands to reason that that one would too. Here, Durandal him. Oak. Nice miss. Okay. Sure. Super freeze that guy. What we'll do here. Again. One more time. Yeah. Wait. I read that as Remake at first. Did Rebirth actually come out on the PS4 as well? So I thought that one was PS5 exclusive. I was kind of surprised that it was PS5 exclusive after Remake was originally on the PS4. That's what I thought I remembered. I know that Remake is coming to the Switch too. At whatever point. At some point it's coming to that console. And looking not too half bad. Be interesting to see if Rebirth ever comes to it as well. 16 I know was PS5 exclusive. Yeah, initially at least. Now it's on PC. Since you know, people are increasingly losing interest with the PS5 with like the lack of exclusives. There was a person that I was in line beside for the Switch 2 that was telling me that he just recently sold his PS5 just because there's like no games. No exclusive games for it because everything keeps coming to PC. And then it just snowballs some more and more stuff coming to PC because third parties that are making games for the console are like, hey, we actually want to make money by selling more games and we're not getting enough by selling on your console because this doesn't have enough exclusives. So people are losing interest in the console and just, you know, a positive feedback loop. Yeah, then eventually on PS5. Here, you want to like go murderize this guy here, Narcian? There's a chance that you miss. 76, that may as well be a 50-50. So this next one's gonna miss, just watch. Okay, never mind. Never mind there. Oh, you can't get on the thing. If only you had one more movement, huh? Alright, sure. Yeah, lots of dudes. Look it up. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is PS5 exclusive. Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm sure it'll eventually come to PC as well. And then not be exclusive to PS5 anymore, but... Yeah, I was kind of surprised that it didn't come to PS4 after Remake was PS4. But, I don't know. I'm right around the midway-ish point from what I can tell. From when I look on, like, IGN guide for, you know, the different categories if I'm getting lost. In terms of, like, the list of categories, I'm right around, like, the halfway of those. So I assume I'm roughly at, like, halfway of the game. We're chasing down Sephiroth. We just got the plane that can't actually fly. It's stuck in the water. And we're trying to figure out where the hell the Temple of the Ancients is. And, wherever that be. And the world has just opened up and given me, like, no guidance. And just been like, yeah, figure out where the Temple of the Ancients is. So I'm gonna have to do a decent bit of looking into stuff in my own time. I just did a side quest with a Yuffie in the meantime. But I'll have to do some research and figure out where the hell I'm going, what the hell I'm doing. and then continue on. Wait, I'm just realizing I'm not one-shotting with this. Wow, you suck, Sephiel. Well, whatever. How many hours? I don't know. Let's see here. Currently I am at 27.5 hours. It opens up. No! Yeah, I've just kind of got a large world, and then it doesn't tell me where to go. It just says, figure out where the Temple of the Ancients is. And when I was looking initially online, it sounded like I might need to go to, like, a town somewhere that's, like, northwest of Midgar. So I probably have to cross back to the other side of the ocean again and find that. But it seems very much like the developers expected you at that point to just be like, hey, I have a plane, I can get to new areas that I haven't before. Let's take time to really explore the world, and then I'll stumble on the way that I progress this game sometime later by chance. Is what it feels like was probably the intention. You know, the more older school game design, Tales Symphonia / Vesperia world map flashbacks, that really is what it is, honestly. That is very much the situation that I'm in right now when it comes to Final Fantasy VII. That's exactly what is going on. I booted up, but it might mess with my aspect ratios here. I was thinking about it for a moment there. It's kind of like a map and, hey, figure it out. So, yeah. I assume that's probably not like that in Remake / Rebirth. Probably, well, I guess Remake is just exclusive to Midgar. And then Rebirth is where it opens up. And from what I've heard, it sounds like Rebirth goes until, I think, the Temple of the Ancients, from what I hear. Where it's like, Remake goes from the beginning of the game up until, like, the end of Midgar. And then Rebirth goes from, like, the world opening up until Temple of the Ancients or something like that. And, like, a big confrontation with Sephiroth, from what I've heard, when you confront him there. Which, from what I've heard, is supposed to be around, like, the midpoint of the game. So, like, I guess the third in the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy is gonna do, like, the whole second half of the game. So it was, like, a quarter, a half. In terms of storytelling content, I guess, is the way that the remake games are going. Which, interesting choice. I mean, maybe it'll make more sense as I continue to play the game and be like, oh, yeah, that is a natural breakpoint for the story. Or something, I don't know. I guess I'd do something dumb. I don't want to have to redo this entire stupid map. My brother completed Remake, but only got halfway through Rebirth. Okay, so don't know exactly how that ends there. Let's see here. Screw, I'm booting up the thing. It's gonna break everything, just watch. Anyway, just remembered how many mini-games Rebirth has. Is it a lot? There's a lot of really weird mini-games in Final Fantasy VII in general that are like, you know, give this person that's passed out on the beach CPR. And there's like a whole mini-game of breaths, or you're falling through like this bridgey kind of area. Like, avoid the obstacles. Like, there's so many weird mini-games that I don't understand the controls for so much of the time. Here, I can show a thing here real quick. If I set it to that, and then I do the thing here. Here, playing OG Final Fantasy VII. I'm chipping away at it here. My current save file is, this is the one with the most hours. But yeah, full on different minigame. So like, a lot less, small kind of stuff than what I've got going on here. Yeah, so currently in Final Fantasy VII, know how fishing is a minigame in certain video games? Yeah, a bunch of stuff like that or something. So in terms of the map, I went here to do a side quest. There's little flashes that show where my vehicles are. So that little, they're both on the left side. That little green flash is my buggy that I left over there. It doesn't automatically come with you under normal circumstances. And my plane I dropped off on like the southern shore of this island. And my plane can only go through like shallow water right now. So just like the light blue water here, I can't go into the deep water yet, and I can't fly with it yet. So I guess that's going to be later in the game. So it basically is just like, hey, you got the plane. You can explore some new areas now with the shallow waters. Go figure out how the hell to get to the Temple of the Ancients, or where the hell it even is. So I went here and did this side quest in the meantime. But it sounds like I need to go back to Midgar kind of area, like right close to the beginning of the game, and then like some town that's like nearby there. Maybe it's a place that I couldn't have gotten to before, but now I can with the plane or something like that. I don't know. But this is where I left off. It's just like, here's a map, figure it out. And yeah, I mean, it's a game that came, like, Symphonia came out, what, like 2004? This game was 1997. I'm sure there was some inspiration drawn. I'm sure that this was just kind of like a standard thing to do in your RPGs of the era. Like, your JRPGs especially then, where it's like, world map, get different vehicles as it goes on that unlocks more traversal abilities, and figure it out as you go across the whole map. That is, Yeah, it essentially is. It is the Bandai Namco of Final Fantasy. You're not wrong. But yeah, think of that, but think of each as a completely different game for each and every single one. Like, it works differently in each. So yeah, this is what I'm dealing with right now. And I think I'm a little bit under-leveled because I'm facing enemies that are like level 38 and I'm like level 29 or something like that, or 30, I don't remember. So I think I need to grind on my own time before the next time I continue with this. And I need to figure out where the hell I'm even going for sure. Because, yeah, I'm... Like, if I was playing this blind, which, I mean, I am. If I was playing this without internet kind of thing blind, then I would definitely be, like, completely lost. If I was playing this as a kid, and I didn't have, like, internet to refer to, that is probably the point that I would get to before I quit and never play the game again. Because I would just get so lost, and I would get frustrated and give up. I think that's what would realistically happen to me as a kid. That or I get lucky and I track down a guide in the real world. Just like this game would need a guide. But otherwise, it's just not happening. But yeah, so this part of the game gets unlocked halfway through the game. The world map gets unlocked like right after Midgar. So Final Fantasy VII Remake apparently just does the Midgar stuff. And then like, you know, the world opens up and you cross the world and all that fun stuff. Rebirth is like the beginning of you being able to go across the world, supposedly. I haven't seen much Final Fantasy VII Remake or Rebirth. That's just what I hear in terms of like story progression. Sure, go ahead and do this. But I just got the plane and I can like get around a little bit easier, but I still can't like cross the whole world super easily. So like you do Midgar, and then you do like Costa de Sol, and you trek out and do a bunch of stuff, like you trek across the continent to Costa de Sol, and then you take a ship that brings you to the other continent, and then you do a bunch of stuff on that continent, and you unlock the buggy, which gets you across like some shallow waters and stuff, and then you do a whole bunch of stuff, and then you get the plane, but the plane has its like tail fin shot while you're flying, and then it can't fly anymore, and then it's stuck to just being in shallow waters, and now I have the plane and the buggy, and that's what things are looking like in Final Fantasy VII at the moment. So, from what I've heard, it sounds like once I clear Temple of the Ancients will be like the true midway point-ish. So like I'm almost halfway. But yeah, at the beginning of 2/3 of the way through the game then. No, I'd say a little bit less than halfway is where I'm at there. If Temple of the Ancients is truly like the midway point, and I'm just trying to figure out how to reach Temple of the Ancients, so it's coming up here soon, then I'm about to reach the halfway-ish mark. Which, if Rebirth ends with Temple of the Ancients, then I guess Final Fantasy VII Rebirth only gets like the halfway point of the story. And then the final remake game will do like the whole other half. After Remake and Rebirth each did a quarter, or whatever the heck. Bonk. Unless they just decide to make 4 games, and each of them is a quarter. I mean, I guess there's technically already 3 games with, like, the Crisis Core remake and stuff. So, yeah, I'm getting close to about halfway here, I'm thinking. But, yeah, I'm very much seeing the similarities with, like, games like Tales of Symphonia and Vesperia, as you mentioned, where it's like, yep, big open world map. Figure it out. We're not telling you shit. Like, which, yeah, it's certainly something. I will say here. It is certainly something. So, yeah, I'm gonna need to do, like, some serious research to figure out where the hell I'm going before the next time I stream Final Fantasy VII and gain some levels. Because clearly the game expects me to go around doing a whole bunch of other stuff before continuing with the story. With things opening up like that there. Here, Durandal. Yeah, I think Final Fantasy VII Remake has 6 separate mini-games? Wow. Is there a lot more in Rebirth? Here, Murdoch can take one on. Final 7 Rebirth has over 30 separate mini-games, my god. I would have thought that would have been more with, like, Remake, because it feels like, once someone told me for the first time that Remake was Midgar only, I was like, really? But Midgar isn't really all that much of the story. Like, they really padded Midgar out to be that long. I would have thought for sure Remake would be the one with, like, a whole bunch of mini-games to, like, really pad it out or something. But I guess not. Oh, there's the big bad. There's the boss, so is he gonna come over here? And then look, then I'm well and truly done with Binding Blade. For real this time. Is he gonna come over here? Oh, he is, okay. I guess I can set Roy over there. Not over-exaggerating, looked up and people are saying there's over 30. My god. This is insane. Alright, well, here, I'll fight him with Roy. And if this is gonna be the end of, like, Fire Emblem stuff for a while, one thing that I can mention in terms of, like, interesting stuff that's happened around here since the last stream, oh, there's a couple things here. One, after MegaLAN there, the truck is still working good. I took it to the first show of the year, like, just last weekend here. There was the tent at MegaLAN that, you know, it made sleeping a little bit difficult. But yeah, the last time that I streamed this game, these are my sleeping conditions right outside the venue. That was, certainly something. Last weekend, brought to the show here, it was a fundraiser for the Stolly Children's Hospital at a candy store. And I was like, oh, I do, like, the extra life streams. I should totally do, I should totally go to this, event with my car show and help fundraise for the Stolleries. It's alright, do that a whole bunch. So, there's that. That's still working good. And, oh yeah, there's birds nesting little sparrows in our, gazebo, which is kind of cute. And here's a cute thing that I can show too. This is who I was dog sitting a few days ago. This is the neighbor's foster pup that they just recently got here, like, less than a week ago at this point, I think. Now they're gonna be looking after for the next little while before she goes up for adoption. So they were away for a decent bit a few days ago, so I was looking after her, and she's pretty cute here. So I was looking out the window at the neighbor's place earlier today, seeing her running around and being happy and stuff like that. The neighbor's there. It was pretty cute. Pretty cute to see. There's my obligatory life story updates, because, like, Fire Emblem is one of my ongoing, like, overall series over the years, so I like to talk about life stuff in it, just like with my Assassin's Creed series. There's some updates of stuff. There's some things that have been going on. But yeah, I only remembered looking up a lot because I remember watching my brother play the game. He would just get bombarded by minigame introduction after minigame introduction that's just mixed in with the story. Okay, so it works like Final Fantasy VII main game, except, like, on steroids, I guess. Here. Oh! We're finishing this playthrough with a crit animation! I'd like to get a job first here, is what I would like to do first and foremost. I'm glad that the final hit of the playthrough was a crit with a binding blade. Amazing. I'm still very much looking for a job. I've been turning in applications, like, everywhere. Everywhere computer related. I've been turning in job applications and haven't heard back from anything. So I want to figure out what the job situation looks like first and know what my own schedule looks like before I consider adopting a dog at this point. So that I know what kind of time commitment I can get. What kind of time commitment I can give. So, like, if yeah, 2002, I was right. So if there's a dog, for example, that really needs people to be home a lot of the time, then maybe if I'm doing, like, a hybrid thing or working from home, then maybe that's a fair enough game dog to adopt. But if I'm, like, really working full-time away from home most of the day, then it'd probably be better to get a dog that is going to be okay on their own for a little bit. So I very much want to know what my schedule looks like first. First, figure out the job situation. Secondly, potentially, like, see about a car situation before the prices get absolutely insane. get a new car here. And then doggy situation. Ran out of hours. Research is over. No more of that. I'm officially laid off as of 2 weeks ago. But I was out of hours a decent bit before that as well. So the hours already were a little bit on and off. Like, it was pretty full-time for a while when things were pretty active there. But, you know, I did all the stuff that needed to be done, and they don't really have work for me anymore. So I was employed by the university that, like, I went to school at, but no more of that. That's over. So, like, the only income that I'm making at this point is off of these channels currently. So I've been turning in applications all over the place for several months now. Rebirth game is absolute whack. Remake is more serious, but Rebirth is just a goofy mess. Oh, well, I'll look forward to experiencing that when I eventually get there. So, yeah, still looking for opportunities on the job front. It sounded like from our neighbor out at the lake, like some opportunities might have been opening up with AGLC in IT. AGLC being the Alberta Gaming and Liquor Commission. So it'd be a government position there. But, you know, I haven't really heard much follow-up there, and I don't know if things are going to pan out. I think that they need to figure out, like, the budgeting stuff. It sounded like there was going to be another position that could have potentially panned out at the university from my old boss that would have really liked to rehire me into a new position involving programming. But they needed to figure out a whole bunch of budget stuff and have things go through, like, HR and all that, and it sounds like it never really got sorted out. So it would have been really nice to keep working there. I probably could have even kept working at my same desk. But alas. don't think that's working out. I don't know if the AGLC stuff is working out. So yeah, I'm just kind of going around turning in applications, and different people in like similar fields, I'm always asking like, hey, is there like any chance of like any opportunities there? Have you heard about anything opening up? I'm kind of searching around, but right now I'm just kind of like unemployed at home, chipping away at my different projects of this channel with the different playthroughs and video essays, like the Switch 2 video essay that I put out not too long ago. The gardens, where I'm managing the garden here, the garden at my Oma's place, the garden at my family's lake cabin, and doing a little bit of stuff at my cousin's place as well. So managing multiple of those, working away at my truck, as it still has lots of stuff to work away at with that. So been doing stuff with that, and been playing around a whole lot with a 3D printer lately, trying to get it working good enough for like Fragapalooza coming up here to get those dragons printed, and clearly still having some kinks in the works here. So yeah, I'm just chipping away at a bazillion different projects while looking for work. So I'm by no means like sitting around doing nothing in this meantime or anything like that. I'm keeping busy. I'm starting to try to learn how to cook as well. So from time to time, I'm trying to be the one that's cooking in the household, which is just like, go find stuff in the freezer. What sounds good together, and let's put it together. Oh, that's what he looks like when he's blue. Which sometimes turns out okay. Sometimes it turns out good. You know, it varies, but that's very much the best way to handle it. Is just like, what do we have around here, and what can I use? And I'm trying to figure it out here. So, you know, I am developing new skill sets. I am picking up some new things up. I've been doing a little bit of keyboard practice. I'm trying to learn some new songs and stuff like that. So I do have projects that keep me busy. I'm definitely not like sitting around twiddling my thumbs doing nothing in the meantime. I'm definitely working away at a whole lot of different stuff, but I would very much like to be on the job front and grinding away at monies so that I can one day make a down payment on a house and all that. would be very good here. But yeah, someone told me they used to work for Nintendo and they would pay $30 USD an hour. That's not half bad there. All my friends on the Team Skull Discord server. Well, I don't know if there's anything Nintendo based around here. I do wanna stay in the area here and keep chipping away at like my projects and stuff that are around here, and you know, spending time with my family and looking after them. Like, I'm typically at my Oma's place like 3 or 4 times a week and checking on her in the garden and stuff there, helping out where I can. So, you know, I'm probably the one that's over there the most. My mom probably the second most. So there's things that keep me here, like my cousin's kids as well, for example. I like to do a lot for and with, and you know, I want to stick around in the area here. Taekwondo is another thing that I'm chipping away at with my cousin and his 2 kids now. So lots of stuff that I want to keep working at here, ideally. Like, I could always apply to things in different places of Canada. I could apply to things in Germany since I have my Sprachdiplom. I could apply to things in the US since I have my dual citizenship. But I don't really have I especially have no intention of doing anything job-related in the States, or even going to the States if it can be avoided, for the next, a little bit more than 3.5 years at this point. What are we at in the term? Something like that. Yeah, I'd rather not go to the States again until 2029 if it can be avoided, considering the current situations there. Yeah, if it's possible to do some online jobs, that'd be nice there. Would be potentially cool, and I should be looking into like more opportunities for, you know, side hustle stuff there. I tried to do some 3D printing stuff for a little while as a side hustle stuff by going to a gardening event and selling 3D printed pots and things. I didn't sell a single 3D printed pot, except for like a couple little Pikachu ones. But like my main big pots I printed, I didn't sell a single one. And I have a bunch of unsold inventory in the other room of all sorts of like 3D printed stuff. So that didn't really pan out as a potential additional side hustle. So yeah, I'm trying to do what I can here to do stuff. But yeah, maybe. And I have looked for like remote positions in like game development kind of stuff. And I could start looking for like more internationally. I've mostly looked like provincial so far. But yeah, I could look into some more stuff here. But considering I'm still just fresh out of university and haven't worked in a job in that position yet, I know a lot of companies would be very reluctant to hire me because they would need to like put so much time in like training before I actually become like valuable to their company and all that, and really get an understanding of what the heck is going on. So yeah, doing what I can here with various different projects, trying to be productive where I can, but, you know, very much want to get on the money grind, and hopefully something like IT-based or programming-based will pan out in the near future here. Would be good. Would be good to get sorted out there. I'm really hoping that something like AGLC works out, because a government position would be a really nice thing to secure, and, you know, something to secure that would help long-term, very much so. So, I might follow up with my neighbor at the lake and be like, hey, what's going on with the HLC stuff? Is there still any chance of them looking for someone in IT? Because that'd be fantastic if so. So we shall see. Hopefully by the next time I start a Fire Emblem playthrough on this channel, I will have a job secured. And I can be like, oh, here's a life update. I'm working in this job and it's great. You know, reach out to the Dark DA Dev and ask him what he did too to get himself out there. I mean, he was like self-programming was a thing. He was the programmer on those games himself, but like would just reach out to get like publishers secured and stuff like that. Is what I guess would be the case. I don't think that he's done any work on like someone else's game paying him, just like his own games that were funded through like people buying the game. The first game I believe was on Kickstarter. It was a Kickstarter campaign. If memory serves here, I could be going crazy. It was some sort of a fundraiser thingamabob. And yeah. So, a little bit of a different situation there. He was a, if memory serves here, an economics major that wanted to play a game similar to Fire Emblem, but Googled games similar to Fire Emblem and didn't see anything he wanted to play and decided to make it himself without having, like, any programming experience before that point. And then went and had at it and made a game. Like, I could always spend my time making a game myself, but I think if I wanted to, like, really spend time trying to, like, get going in, like, my own business, my own income, I would just put more effort into this channel. I would just, like, make more video essays and try to, like, make something of this rather than making my own game, is what I would probably do. I'll put my game on Kickstarter once the demo for my game is complete. Fair enough there. Makes sense. Well, it was about 1 in the morning. I should probably wrap things up here. So, I guess the Binding Blade playthrough then went until June 15th, since it's after midnight here. Is the date that it went until. Just because of the one stupid trial map. When I did, like, the other ones, like, either, I think it was this day. I don't remember what day of MegaLAN I did it. One of these days. And then, like, a couple weeks later here I am finally finishing off, like, the one map that I missed. Well, hey, at least Binding Blade is done. So, the next time that I stream Fire Emblem on this channel, yeah, I've been streaming for a while here, including the Deltarune stuff. There's probably 3 potential candidates for what the next well, I guess technically 4 potential candidates that I can see being the next Fire Emblem playthrough. The first candidate, which I'm thinking is probably the most likely right now, is Path of Radiance for the GameCube, considering, like, that's the one that's coming out on the Switch here later this year, so it might be trending that way. Plus, I've also just been kind of interested in trying it. I did not do one in May since I was busy with the MegaLAN stuff and a bunch of other things, so like last year, I pushed it into June, so I'm doing it next weekend here. And there's currently a poll in the Discord server for what people want to see. Is the case. Let's see here. That's something that I can pull up here in terms of stuff that's upcoming here. So I wasn't sure what to do for this 24-hour cherry stream, so I was like, hey, I'll put a few suggestions. People can vote on it. Yeah, so MegaLAN was like the big event last month, and then I'll do the 24-hour cherry stream this month. Because I have to do it this coming weekend. Because next weekend is when the actual Breakathon event is going on at my Taekwondo Dojang. Which is cool, because I started doing 24-hour cherry streams through my Dojang to fundraise for Larch through the Breakathon event in 2019. And then COVID hit, and I continued doing 24-hour cherry streams despite, like, the Breakathon here not going on. And this is the first time this event at my Taekwondo school has gone on since COVID and all that. So it hasn't gone on since 2019. It's been 6 years. And it's going on the following weekend here. So I think the 28th is the date of Breakathon here. So I need to have, like, my funds in by then to donate to Larch. So, you know, I did one 24-hour charity stream through the Dojang, and then a whole bunch on my own, and a bunch through Extra Life as well for a different charity. And then this will be, like, the first one with the Dojang again. So this is, like, the envelope that all the students that want to participate get. And then you write down, like, all the people that donated their info if they want, like, a tax receipt or something like that. And then you put, like, the money in the envelope. And I remember my first 24-hour cherry stream, I came in one day to the Dojang, and they were like, Jake, you raised the most by far. And I was like, oh, really? That's cool. That was kind of neat there. So this was kind of my deadline, is that I have to do it before this date right here, the 28th. So my plan is this coming weekend and stuff like that. But yeah. Yeah, and no, you shouldn't have to feel like that there. Don't have to feel that way, but it's completely up to you. There's no pressure, there's no worries, but that's the plan to go on. But I wasn't entirely sure what to do, so I was like, you know what, I'll offer some ideas and other people can make suggestions. So I was like, hey, here's a throwback one. People can donate to fill time slots with whatever game, since that was what I did with like the first 24-hour cherry stream. What about doing like Pokemon Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire with a randomizer like I did with X and Y before Legends CA comes out? That was kind of funny. That was kind of wacky. Part of me did this for like the memes of like, I did that 24 hours of pinball games that bored me half to death and made me lose my mind. I was like, hey, here's the one thing that could be more boring than 24 hours of pinball. Let's do all the DLC of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and then also have to get more on top of that game, considering I just wanted to get through this game by the end of the year, but I totaled up how much I have, and already in like mid-June here, I'm not on pace to beat this game by the end of the year at my current rate. I need to pick it up a little bit. So part of me also suggested it for that reason, and just seeing like, hey, can I stay awake through all that? Not a single person voted on that. No one wants to see that. But then the last thing that I suggested was just like, hey, what about just a normal playthrough start to finish? The final of the Pokemon Issue Dungeon games I haven't done outside of the WiiWare ones, Gates to Infinity. And it seems like that is what is getting the most love here so far. Oh, I bumped my headphone cord and I lost my audio again for a sec. I gotta replace this cord at some point. I need to do that from time to time. Oh, I have it, but it's like staticky and weird. Reggie bumping John Wildcat saying Gates at all cost. So, it's looking like there's a good chance I might well be playing Pokemon Issue Dungeon Gates to Infinity next weekend. We shall see. If anybody's watching this on YouTube after the fact and, you know, and it's before this weekend of this date, you still have a chance to vote. So, it seems like there's a lot of love for Mystery Dungeon. So, chances are I'm going to be playing Gates to Infinity this weekend. Mythic suggested at least an hour of Plastic Duck Simulator. As he's suggesting, like, doing some multiplayer stuff. Always drop, like, a thumbs up on each thing. Politico Stefan suggesting, like, the Star Fox series. Stuff there. Yeah, I could potentially do, like, Gates to Infinity. That's what it's panning out to be. And if there's extra time, then maybe I'd do something like that, something like this, something like this. Because these are all things that wouldn't be, like, a full 24-hour stream, these different suggestions. So, yeah, that's what next weekend is panning out to be. Every week or two, I keep having this stream where the Explorers remake comes out. Every time I wake up, I feel utterly disappointed because I'm always so excited in my dream about it. It's happening more and more often. Well, that just means that it's gonna be coming out soon. It means that we're coming up on release. So anyway, that's what's coming up here in terms of in terms of ongoing playthroughs. This is done now. Yeah, that. I can go ahead and delete this message now. That's done. I beat this tonight as well. I beat this a few days ago. I'll still probably play it from time to time with family, and I just got to unlock the mirror mode with this. And then we'll be back to just these three for a little while, and I can go ham on, like, committing to these and seeing them through. So, the game schedule looks kind of crazy right now, but it's about to get a whole lot better. And then Donkey Kong Bonanza is going to come out here then. Is going to be the case. There's another game I found out, too, that's absolutely hilarious. I expect you to play it, but it's pretty funny. Added as a suggestion for 24-hour charity thing if it's a short thing that be tacked on, like, something like these might potentially be tacked on. We shall see. That's what things are looking like in terms of just, like, games in the near future here. This got announced recently, a Persona 4 remake. But in terms of the next Fire Emblem, like I was saying, there's probably 4 potential candidates. Path of Radiance, I think, is the most likely next Fire Emblem playthrough that I do. Just because I want to try it out and see what it's like. I've heard great things about the Ike games. I do want to, like, truly sink my teeth into it. I never played all that far on my own time many years ago. I never got the chance to, like, truly understand what the game is like, and I do kind of want to try out Path of Radiance. And like I said, I did kind of begin making a spreadsheet for Path of Radiance and figuring out what a team looks like and stuff like that, so I'm kind of leaning towards that way, so the next Fire Emblem playthrough is probably going to be that. The other candidates are Sacred Stones, and then I finish off the Game Boy Advance trilogy. But, you know, I could always do another Fire Emblem playthrough first and then come back to Sacred Stones, and then I spread things out a little bit more. And Sacred Stones is a really fun game. It's not that hard. Like, if memory serves, I've never beaten it, but I remember it being a really easy game. I don't know if I ever played on hard mode, though. Maybe I did, I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's a pretty easy game. It's definitely nothing like Fire Emblem 6. Like, it should be a walk in the park in comparison, so it might not engage me too much, but it's very much ahead of its time with, like, it's got the best class system of the Game Boy Advance games, a lot more customizability there. You've got, like, a world map and infinite grinding opportunities. It really felt like a modern Fire Emblem game, essentially, but with the Game Boy Advance format, which is really cool. Sacred Stones is a pretty awesome game. The third candidate is potentially doing Fate's Revelations, doing that finally, but I want to wait until I'm in the mood for it, as I've said before. Like, that's going to be a long, long, long playthrough. Like, well over 100 parts. Like, it's gonna be quite the long one. It's gonna be quite the commitment. So I both need to have enough time in my schedule to be able to take on something that long, and I need to be in the mood where it's like, ooh, I'm getting the Fates itch, because it's still one of my favorite Fire Emblem games gameplay-wise. So I really want to be, like, in the mood where it's like, man, I really want to do this now. Like, with Conquest, I did it during my final year of university. I was like, you know, I really like Fire Emblem Fates. Let's do Conquest, my favorite route, during my final year of university, and then that could be a nice break from, like, some of my university studies playing, like, my favorite Fire Emblem game at the time there. So, I'll probably have to do something similar with Revelations. Be at a time where my schedule's really open, and I really just have, like, the itch for it. But, you know, it's a potential candidate. And the last potential candidate, never thought I'd say it here, but maybe. Maybe. Let's see here. If I go to here, switch to... I popped in I can go ahead and close this now. I popped in Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes shortly after getting the Switch 2 because I heard that the Nintendo Warriors games had uncapped frame rates, so they played better on the Switch 2 than the Switch. So, like, I tried out Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity on stream, and it definitely played smoother than I remember it playing during my playthrough. And on my own time, I popped in Fire Emblem Warriors, and I played, like, one map of it. I played part of the map. I quit partway through. I just want to see how it played. It's smooth on Switch 2. Like, I did one route of this, technically two, but, like, I did one route of this, and then I was like, I'll do the other ones later, and then I never got around to it. But it is really, really smooth on Switch 2. It is a much better gameplay experience, and so I can see the motivation for that being higher. Again, I would rather play something that I've never played before in terms of, like, story and completely different Fire Emblem game, is what I would prefer to do. But this is a lot more playable now, and I do kind of want to move on from Fodlan. I'm kind of sick of the whole Fodlan saga and all that. I said that I was done with it, and whenever I was asked when I was going to do, like, the next road of Fire Emblem Warriors, I was like, yeah, I will at some point, but I don't know. Since, like, why would I do another playthrough of Fire Emblem Warriors when I can play a Fire Emblem game I've never played before? Like, Path of Radiance, for example. I could finally get around to playing that game. So when I have a limited time and I have to choose, like, one or the other, why not choose, like, something that I've never played before? Would be the higher priority. But, admittedly, this is a lot more playable than before, and so that idea in the back of my head of doing it one day is a lot more at the forefront of my head now than it was before, I will say. The motivation is definitely higher. I feel like the motivation is definitely still higher for things like Path of Radiance, but it is definitely higher than it once was. It is definitely higher than the, I guess I could be obligated to do it, but, like, I'm really tired of Fodlan. It actually plays like a really smooth game now, so there is a little bit of temptation there. But yeah, I remember it being super goofy and slightly laggy on the Switch. Oh, it's running super smoothly now on Switch too. I was quite impressed there. Yeah, it's called Farset. It's a YTP game mod that looks almost exactly like Hotel Mario and Face of Evil. Like, think of Face of Evil, but as a YTP and as an entire game. Oh, jeez. Cracked me up so much that made me laugh as much as I did when I played Deer Simulator. Nice. But yeah, so that could be a possibility. Maybe I would do an additional route in that. It is worth noting that there is another Nintendo Warriors game coming out later this year, being Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment here. It doesn't have a proper release date yet. It's just, like, winter 2025. So it'll probably be sometime late this year. And if I did do, like, you know, Path of Radiance sometime much later on in the year, then, you know, in terms of another Fire Emblem playthrough, Path of Radiance would be a whole lot better than having, like, Hyrule Warriors, Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment plus Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes going on at the same time. Like, I want to have more variation in what's going on at the same time, so it makes more sense to have, like, mainline Fire Emblem going on at the same time as Hyrule Warriors, rather than Hyrule Warriors going on at the same time as Fire Emblem Warriors. Plus, with, like, Path of Radiance coming out on the Switch later on in the year, it's like, oh, well, I may as well showcase it, because, like, more people are going to get the opportunity to play it, and more people might be interested in seeing what a cheesy, crazy playthrough looks like, so So yeah, in terms of the future of Fire Emblem on this channel, at this point, after thinking about it long and hard, most likely Path of Radiance next. I'm not, like, don't quote me on that, because, like, plans can change here. That might end up changing around. But most likely, that's what I'm leaning towards right now. That's my top preferred option. But I have been thinking about Fire Emblem Warriors a little bit recently. Or maybe it's one of those things that I start playing and I just chip away at, like, very on and off, like an Assassin's Creed Valhalla kind of thing. Maybe I chip away at it at, like, gaming events when I have the opportunity to do it in, like, local multiplayer, like a Fragapalooza this year or something like that. I don't know. When I get my, friend from Germany, Finn. You met Finn before, Guzma, at Fragapalooza 2023 there. He's coming again this year. And, you know, maybe I'll end up doing some Fire Emblem Warriors stuff when I have opportunities to play with others like that. I don't know. Most likely I won't, but it's an idea that's gone through my head. My vote goes to Gates to Infinity. Yeah, there's a lot of love for Gates to Infinity there. Yeah, over the next couple days, I should probably start preparing a Gates to Infinity layout. Is what I should do. I haven't done, like, any preparation for that yet, but since it's looking like Gates to Infinity is probably taking it, I should probably do some preparations for that. So, yeah, that's the future of some playthroughs and events around this channel. And in terms of Fire Emblem, probably Path of Radiance. Maybe something else. Maybe I'll get a Fire Emblem Warriors itch after all, after putting it off for so many years. Because Switch 2 actually plays it really freaking good. So, I would be intrigued to try a full playthrough on Switch 2, where it's gonna feel, like, very different than on Switch 1. I would be a little bit intrigued, admittedly. Imagine you seeing Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes as one of the most recently played games on my Switch unit again. Also Mario and Luigi Brothership. Gross. Yeah. Put that into sleep mode here. But yeah, I probably dilly-dallied on here long enough, he thinks. Go ahead and put stuff away. I appreciate everybody that tuned in to this one map stream of Fire Emblem Binding Blade, and now the true ending of my Fire Emblem Binding Blade series. Again, unless I randomly get an itch that's like, oh, I want to, like, load up a save file that does the sake maps just to see how bullshit they are. Like, I'm not gonna say that that's impossible, but I'm probably not doing it. The chance, but probably not. So, yeah. That ends another Fire Emblem playthrough for now. The Game Boy Advance Fire Emblem animations are so clean. They're so good. I go to Path of Radiance and it's gonna look ugly in comparison. It's gonna look gross. Or something, I don't know. I haven't played Path of Radiance in a long time, so we shall see. But I have had some excitement for playing that game, so we'll see what ends up happening. For now, I'm gonna keep on getting through my game queue and get on top of other stuff that I want to get on top of here. And we'll get back to Fire Emblem at some point here. I'd like to play lots more games in this series. I definitely did enjoy Binding Blade here. I do like FE7 more. Like, this game was very much a mixed bag, but I did generally enjoy my time with it. That was Fire Emblem 7. Fire Emblem 6, The Binding Blade. Next time, who knows? We'll see. So, until the next adventure here, take care, and see ya. Goodbye.